All right, top 10 suburbs in the Tampa, Florida area. Here we go. I'm Sam and welcome to the Living in Tampa channel. We make these videos for you about what it's like to live and move to the Tampa area. We're also a team of realtors and we'd love a chance to earn your real estate business. Give us a call, text, or email anytime. We actually do want to hear from you. Of course, we love for people to watch these videos. We love for them to get out, for this information to get out. But more than that, we really want to hear from you. So give us a call or a text or an email or go to the website and fill out a form and we'll contact you. However you want to do it, we want to hear. Okay, let's get right into it. Top 10 suburbs. And I'm gonna do these in an order of what I think is the best, but let's build kind of a basic framework of what is a suburb and what is a good suburb. What makes a suburb great? That's the question. What makes a suburb great? And I'm going to go with my structure that I established with the Tampa Explained series. So proximity, style, size, and cost. Proximity. Okay, suburbs are never super close to anything, but it's a good proximity when it's a reasonable commute to job centers, fun activities, and the airport. Let's say those things. Okay, job centers, fun activities, airport. Now some of these you get different fun activities than others, right? But whatever, that's a minor detail. Style. Okay, what is the style of a suburb? It's kind of this city within a city vibe. And I think you know what I mean by a city within a city. It feels like you can live within that one area and you'll satisfy all your needs. Okay, next is size. It has to be big enough to have everything you need to be that city within a city. It has to be big enough. And when that gets too big, you just have this kind of shift that happens. Okay, and next is cost. And a lot of you expect for a suburb to be cheaper than living in the city because it is a little bit further out because of that proximity factor. You do have to commute to get to things. You're likely expecting it to be a little bit cheaper. You're also very understanding of the areas that have better schools are understandably more expensive, even though they're suburbs. Okay, we're gonna do this list in reverse order, so we'll finish with number 1, and you can probably guess what I think number 1 is, and it's mostly based on your opinions, but we're gonna leave it till the end. Of course, this list is super opinionated. This list is not unbiased. This list is not based on objective data. This list is based on my opinions of what the people want whenever they move here and how it fits within to that framework that we already built. Number 10 is Fishhawk. So this is the bottom of our top 10 list. And some of these areas are kind of small. So just because Fishhawk's at the bottom of the list doesn't mean it's bad. Fishhawk is super cool, but it's kind of way out there. I had some clients that were considering Fishhawk recently, and one of the biggest concerns was Target is so far away. That is a factor. Fishhawk does have this city within a city vibe, but it just doesn't have everything you need. It feels like it's just this master plan community kind of plopped out in the country. Has a lot of cool stuff, has some really unique neighborhood features, has really good public schools, but still is just kind of plopped out there. Okay, number 9, connected to Fishhawk, Riverview. A lot of you consider Riverview because of the amount of house you can get for the price. But what you're paying for, the opportunity cost in that, is often commute times. Traffic gets so backed up in that area because so many people are commuting to the city center of Tampa. Now, whether that's anywhere across Tampa, but if they live down south on that section of town, they're all taking similar commute paths and it gets super, super backed up. I've had clients visit the area and rule that area out just by one half day of exploring out there because they end up getting stuck in traffic. And of course, as I always say, traffic here is not that crazy. It's a factor, but it's not crazy like super big cities. All right, number 8 is Land O'Lakes. Land O'Lakes has a lot going for it. There's a lot of lakes, go figure. But mostly around those lakes are pretty old houses. Land O'Lakes has a few schools that are really decent, a few public schools that are really decent, and a couple private schools that are really good. But once you get over to the west side of Land O'Lakes where they're building newer communities, you're not attached to the better public schools anymore. And Land O'Lakes is just kind of country. It just is. Like, you have to go into the neighboring suburbs to access shopping and those kind of things, which isn't that big of a deal because they're all really close. But if you want more of a rural vibe in a suburb, Land O'Lakes has some really decent options. Number 7 is Eastlake. So Eastlake is this section over here that's east of this big lake, Lake Tarpon. Some of the homes in Eastlake have Tarpon Springs addresses, some of them have Palm Harbor addresses. But all of this is unincorporated Pinellas County. Now, just because it's unincorporated doesn't mean that it's the Wild West. It's mostly managed by HOAs, big HOAs that like Wentworth Golf Course and Lansbrook and these big HOA neighborhoods, gated neighborhoods, a lot of them with really cool like lakefront properties, really awesome lake access, a lot of really unique neighborhoods in Eastlake. But the biggest downside of Eastlake, and this is coming from a friend that lives there, she feels like it takes a while to get anywhere. Everybody has to just go on Eastlake Road to get anywhere. And she lives on the far north side of Eastlake. She said to get to Publix, to get to the grocery store is like 10 minutes. And being in an area that small, it just feels like kind of long. Nothing's close. If you really are gonna stay in your neighborhood, Eastlake is a really good option. Eastlake has pretty good public schools. I kind of like it. But it has like a very kind of whitewashed suburban vibe. Okay, number 6 on the list. This is kind of a hard one to put on the list, but I'll explain why it's here. Palm Harbor. Palm Harbor has really good public schools, and it has a lot of unique housing options. So let's take a neighborhood like Cobb's Landing. You see where it is right here on Lake Tarpon. Cobb's Landing has condos, has smaller homes, has really big homes, has houses on the water, has a bunch of things right there in that one neighborhood. People ask me to explain what Palm Harbor is like all the time, and the thing is, it's super suburban. In the middle of all this, you wouldn't expect it to be so residential, but a lot of the people in Palm Harbor are still having to commute outside of the area for work. They're going to Clearwater, they're going to Tampa, they're going to St. Pete, they're going to anywhere kind of around them. And Palm Harbor is one of the bigger areas on the list. You know, actually Riverview is the biggest area on this list at about 100,000 people. But Palm Harbor, decent option. There's really cool neighborhoods. There's really unique neighborhoods. There's the Innisbrook Golf Resort, which has so many golf courses and pools and neighborhoods and condos and apartments and houses and gated areas, all kinds of stuff. So in Palm Harbor, you get these bigger neighborhoods that have this diversity, and I think that's kind of interesting. Number 5 on the list is Trinity. Trinity is technically Newport Richey, which I think they just call themselves Trinity because Newport Richey doesn't have the best reputation around here. But this exclusive area of Newport Richey, and the thing is, it's not even its own zip code. So 34655 is the zip code in Trinity, and some of the rest of Newport Richey also shares that same zip code. Trinity does have really good schools, has a couple like master plan vibe communities, golf course communities and things like that. And Trinity is just a nice pocket in Pasco County. It's really nice. You'd be surprised. It still has really nice access to the beach as well. So if the beach is really important and you want to live in a suburb, then Trinity or Palm Harbor or Eastlake are probably your best bets. Okay, number 4 on the list is Odessa. When you look up Odessa, it shows it as being in Pasco County. There is a little section in Pasco County, but that same zip code overlaps down into Keystone. The Keystone area of Hillsborough County is also Odessa, as in it has Odessa addresses. But the thing is, the Pasco side goes to some schools, the Hillsborough side goes to a few different schools. Some of the Hillsborough side goes to the best public schools, that like Steinbrenner High School area. So Odessa is super confusing, but you have big neighborhoods like Starkey Ranch, the Preserve. You have really interesting neighborhoods and then old farming areas. You have, you know, really kind of exclusive pocket neighborhoods that are really nice. You have some new development, Terramore, that is a WCI development, super cool neighborhood, and that one's right by those nice public schools. Odessa is hard to explain, but honestly, it's my favorite area in the whole Tampa area. Number 3 on the list, I made a video about Lutz recently. Lutz is number 3. A lot of people choose Lutz, and specifically Lutz in Hillsborough County, and then specifically the west side of that because of that cluster of really good schools. McKittrick, Martinez, and Steinbrenner, that campus of schools right there on the corner of Lutz Lake Fern Road and Veterans Expressway. Some of the best public schools in the whole area. A lot of different neighborhoods in Lutz that go to those schools, like Cheval, Villa Rosa, Heritage Harbor. What's that other one? Stonebriar, just up the road. Really cool neighborhoods that go to that school. When it comes to Lutz, that's in Pasco County. So Lutz is another one kind of like Odessa where it overlaps the two counties. The Pasco area is not as popular because the schools just aren't as good. And it's hard to beat those Hillsborough schools in that specific area. They're just really good. Okay, number 2 on the list. This is actually number 1 on the niche.com list of the best suburb in all of Florida, Westchase, Florida. Super interesting. The zip code 33626. I did a Google Earth tour of this area recently to kind of explain some of the borders and how they overlap, specifically with Odessa. Super interesting area, super contained, consistent, well-designed area with parks and sidewalks and trails that go under the road and community centers and shopping down below, apartments. And it's a really well done area and it's very established, but it's pretty expensive and a lot of the houses needed massive updates. So you go in and you spend a bunch of money and then you just spend a bunch more money updating your house. And you get the appreciation and you get the closeness of like easy access to downtown, super easy access to the airport, pretty easy access to the beaches. Westchase is kind of this perfect mixture of a lot of things, but prices are skyrocketing and there's just not room to do anything more. That takes us to number 1 on our list. And number 1 on our list, I'm sure you know what it is. It's Wesley Chapel, the number 1 suburb in the Tampa area. And this is super biased, I know. We actually looked at houses in Wesley Chapel and chose not to live out there. But what's happening in Wesley Chapel is there's so much momentum. A big investment company recently bought the Shops at Wiregrass, this nice outdoor mall. They're gonna make it way nicer. They're gonna bring in higher end restaurants. And then another company's developing the area next to it to put in a new theater, to put in new stuff like that. And then you have the Crate development up in front of the Grove shopping area. This is honestly the main reason we don't live out there is because all the cool stuff is like connected to shopping areas and that's just not really our vibe. But if I didn't have a bunch of little kids or I was pre-kids or post-kids, I would probably consider areas like this more. I just don't want to go shopping with my kids and we don't really go out to eat with little kids either. It's just too challenging. I'm sure a lot of you know what that's like. So Wesley Chapel is getting a lot of attention. It's getting a lot of future development, big neighborhoods like Epperson and Murata and Avalon. And in the midst of that, they're being very intentional about how they slow down growth. They're preserving a lot of land. They're, raising impact fees in the county to build more parks out that way. All kinds of things like this that are actually helping Wesley Chapel grow in a thoughtful way. And that's the number 1 reason why it's number 1 on this list, is because it's growing, but it's not growing like crazy to where we're gonna look back and we're like, gosh, why did we let that happen? So if you want more about the suburbs, let me know. Comment down below what areas on this list would you like to see specific videos about. There's only 2 areas on this list I haven't done a specific video about, which is Trinity and Eastlake. I should do those videos. Anyway, I'd love to hear from you in any way you would love to contact us. Call, text, email, fill out the form on the website, do all the things. We would love to connect, love to hop on a Zoom call and see how we can help you make the move. And as always, thanks for coming by.